Hey everybody, there's a story I like to share about Aunt Myra, and it's been a while. It's hard to remember all the details, and I know that my brother and I remember it a little bit differently, but what I can tell you is when we were in college together, it was actually my freshman year, so we lived together. Keith was traveling with the Ladies of Lee at Lee University, and I was traveling with the Lee Singers, and we had gotten back from a tour, and I just remember because of the schedules, neither of us had been able to really work and earn a lot of money, and so we ran out and we were hungry. And I remember both of us really feeling like we didn't want to inconvenience people. We had family that lived close by. We had Nan, we had cousins, and we probably could have called just our parents and they could have given us money for food or whatever, but for one reason or another, as two college guys, we just didn't want to burden anybody with the fact that we just hadn't eaten in a while. And so we began to pray and ask God to provide for us for our food, and woke up one morning feeling like maybe God's telling us, you know what you need to do is you need to go to the grocery store and I'm just going to buy your groceries for you. Which sounds silly to a lot of people. For us, I mean, we're like, man, God is going to give us groceries. So we ended up getting out, and we got into my car, which, by the way, we didn't have any money, so we didn't have much gas either. But so we start heading towards the grocery store, and we lived on one side where you guys are in Cleveland, where the big Walmart is. And so we got caught up talking about all the stuff we were going to get, to the point that we just kind of didn't even stop at the Walmart. We just kept going. We were just distracted. And drove all the way across town to the little Watsons, because we're like, you know, well, if it's God's will, then it's God's bill, and God is rich, and so we're not just getting ramen noodles, you know, we're getting like Fruity Pebbles and Hamburger Helper and whatever the two of us can make without burning our apartment down. That's what we're getting. And so we started getting so excited about all the stuff that we were going to get, but we were convinced that God had told us to go to the grocery store. So we stepped out in faith and we're obedient. We just knew there was a scripture in Matthew where Jesus says, you know, consider the birds of the air. They don't sow and they don't reap, but your Father in heaven feeds them. And we're like, yes, yes, God, feed us. So we ended up at this Watson's, and we're going through the aisleways, and we're just loading our grocery cart up. And like, I'm sure we had conversations just about, like, you know, how is this going to happen? Like, neither of us have a single dollar in our wallets, but we're just stepping out in faith and just believing that God's going to buy our groceries for us. We get to the front, and we start scanning through, and I got to admit that by this time my faith is wavering. I'm sitting here at this point, instead of thinking of how God's going to do it, I'm thinking of how I'm going to explain to this poor woman who's checking us out that we don't have any money whatsoever, that we felt like God told us to go get groceries and he was going to buy them for us. But almost like a movie finish, as she's scanning through the final groceries, the front automatic doors kind of open up, and there's Aunt Myra. And Aunt Myra looks right at us, and she just says, I'm so glad I ran into you boys. You've got to let me buy your groceries for you today. And so Aunt Myra ended up buying our groceries. And what's crazy about that is Aunt Myra, you know, she lived like 2.5, 3 hours away in Crossville. And she was over visiting Nan in Cleveland. We didn't know it, but she got sent to the grocery store. She drove right by that big Walmart too. And all the way on the other side of town at that Watson's, just like we did. And she was the answer to our prayer. And a couple valuable lessons in there. Number one is I've never, ever questioned whether or not God was capable of taking care of us again, because that day he proved, I mean, even to go so far as to have us both end up at a different grocery store, he proved that he had our backs and he was going to watch out for us. Number two, Aunt Myra became the answer to our prayer that day. And I've done my best to pay it forward. To when I have the opportunity to be a blessing to somebody else, I want to, and that's because of, you know, the examples of godly people like Aunt Myra, and I'm so sorry that I can't be there today, but I'm glad that I get to share this story to honor Aunt Myra and the profound impact she's had on all of us. Love you guys, and God bless you.